Welcome to Rise to the Top, a college football betting podcast with your host and number one college football handicapper, Freddie Wills.
Hey guys, back for another week of my college football betting podcast. Before we get into it, check out. At the end of a hard week, it's great to sit down, take some time off, and watch some football. Game-winning touchdowns on 2-minute drives, running backs racing down the sidelines with no one to stop them. There's nothing else like the NFL, and there's no better way to make the games even more exciting than to bet on them. So do the smart thing and go to mybookie.ag. No one gives you more ways to win than they do. MyBookie's got the fastest payouts and better lines than any other sportsbook. Don't forget, where you're betting is just as important as you're betting on, and mybookie.ag is the best in the business. It's where I play and where you should too. I wouldn't be telling you guys to bet with them if they weren't the best. Do the smart thing. If you're going to bet this football season, bet with MyBookie. If you're the kind of guy that likes to bet a little and win a lot, try a parlay. If all your picks come through, you'll multiply your winnings. And no matter how you bet, the NFL season is the best time of year. Join now. MyBookie will double your first deposit. Use promo code WILLS, W-I-L-L-S, to activate the offer. That's promo code WILLS to activate your offer. Visit mybookie.ag today. You play, you win, you get paid. All right, guys, today I'm going to be breaking down Week 6, some misleading finals, some other key games that I think are worth mentioning, and we'll talk about some of the leans for Week 7 very early in the week here. And hopefully you guys checked out my second podcast last week, which I thought was pretty sharp with a lot of my leans, and I gave you guys kind of where the money was at that point in the week. You know, there's enough bets to talk about it, and you know, at point in the week, I've pretty much gone through all the games that I'm going to bet on as well. So make sure you tune in again this week for that podcast. And for today, again, we're going to talk about the best pick, worst pick, bad beat of the week, and some of the bets I regretted not making. There's always usually a few. And last week, 6-3 against the spreading college football, plus 9.62%. So another profitable week. That's 4 weeks in a row. And in the NFL, we were 2-3, just lost 0.7%. So 8-5 combined, over 8% return on investment last week between college and pro. That's a fourth week in a row. We've been profitable. 63% against the spread the last month, plus 45% return on investment. I'll keep the momentum going and offer the same package for the fourth week in a row. $99 gets you pro and college football, guaranteed profit or 2 weeks free. Fourth week in a row we're offering this. We have a ton of listeners that are taking advantage of it, so appreciate it, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed some winners. And let's do it again. Let's back it up and win for the fifth week in a row. So my best pick this past week, you know, we had a few comfortable wins this past weekend, including Pitt, Florida, and Navy. But my play of the day had to be the best pick with Pitt plus 5. Really they dominated this game. They went up 26-3. Unfortunately, I mean, this is just how betting is. It's not going to be comfortable. So you better get comfortable with being uncomfortable, as I like to say. They muffed a punt inside the Duke 5. That turned the game completely around for Duke. Duke surged back, took the lead 30-26, and I mean, if you follow me on Twitter at Freddie Wills, I was tweeting about this game. You just had, as a bettor, you've been through it so many times. I just had that feeling that we were going to lose the game. Duke goes for 2 to go up 6, which we'd be losing our bet at Pitt plus 5. They don't get it, so they're up by 4. I mean, the worst case scenario is I forget how much time was left in the game. I think there was like 3.5 minutes. And, you know, they go through 4 and out, and the ball's in Duke's territory. So if Pitt doesn't get any first downs, well, they did. They went right down the field and scored a touchdown to win the game, 33-30. But this was not a clean game for Pitt by any means. 14 penalties in the game. You know, we've done well with Pitt a few times this year, and you can view my records over at freddywills.com/records, and you can search. I'm the only handicapper out there that I know that lets you just export his records over 10 years worth of data with a single click of a button. I mean, there's a reason why a lot of handicappers out there hide this information. They don't want you to know it. That's for damn sure. And that was the fourth time we bet on Pitt this year. Actually, the fifth time. We teased them in week 1 with Florida State. And that was a loser in the teaser. But after that, we just bet them on the spread. We went 4-0, bet them against Ohio, against Penn State, against Central Florida, outright upset as dogs, and then against Duke this past weekend, +5, outright upset. I think I might be done with Pitt at this point, though. So, I mean, that game was just and I think the market's starting to catch up on Pitt, to be honest. So, on the flip side with Duke, again, I've always liked backing that team as an underdog. I'll continue to look at them. I really like the way that team fought back in that game. I thought that was really impressive. And this week is not one of those situations where I'm going to back them as an 18.5-point favorite against Georgia Tech. I get Georgia Tech really can't be trusted as they really don't care about winning or losing. They're really trying to establish that new identity under Jeff Collins, a new culture down there at Georgia Tech, going from more of a pro style offense from where they were for over a decade under Paul Johnson running the triple option. So that was my best pick. Pitt. Worst pick. I mean, you could say UConn. I mean, I don't even know if that was a football game. I don't even know if UConn's entered the FBS again. That was a bad pick. Don't get me wrong, but I'm gonna be realistic with you. Army plus the points against Tulane, mainly because it was a higher rated play. Usually, when I'm confident about a play, usually wins. Tulane did whatever they wanted on offense in this game. I thought I was way off in this handicap. The Green Wave, they couldn't stop them. I was shocked to see this from Army. Usually they're a very fundamental team. They fill the gaps. They can stop the run, but Tulane just seemed like on another level in this game. Army did force a fumble and cut the game to 9 with under 2 to play, and they nearly got the onside kick. I thought we were going to get the backdoor cover, and maybe it would make up for some of the ones that went against us early in the season, but didn't happen. Actually, Army did force a 3-and-out with Tulane, and then they got the ball back, but then they had to pass it, and I think they had to go 80 yards to score a touchdown to, for us to cover this game, and it just didn't happen. All week last week I was looking for something to tease Army with because they were sitting at 2.5 all week. It actually got down to 2.5 before game time. I mean, it was a public dog. Whenever you see public money on a dog, it's usually not a good thing, and again, it wasn't here either. It's fine. If I'm going to put my money on a public dog and be with the public, I'd rather it be with an Army team who has a great coach and the players are going to play hard every game no matter what. But overall, just a bad investment on my part. I really underrated Tulane's offensive ability and team speed, and obviously their prep against the option. I really underestimated that. They've seen the option quite a bit over the last few years, and they really held this Army's offense in check. So, got to give them credit. Am I going to be running to window to back Tulane now? No. They're a 35-point favorite this week against UConn. At home, I don't know what to do with that. I'm not getting involved. No, thank you. Bad beat of the week. I didn't really have one in college. I almost had one, and we'll talk about that in a second, but I'd flip it to the NFL. This kept us from having another winning NFL week, although we just barely lost because we hit on our max play of the day again, 4-1 on the season now. Our teaser, we teased the Bengals plus 3.5, which won late, and then we've teased that with the Titans plus 3.5. Titans lose to the Bills 14-7. Titans kicker missed 4 field goals. If he had just gone 2 for 4 on field goals, we would have covered the spread, and the teaser would have won, and we would have had a really good week, going 9-4, as opposed to 8-5. I mentioned previously that I was waiting for one of these games in terms of the opposite of a bad beat, one where we get the backdoor cover, or it happened on Thursday. Temple versus East Carolina. I'm sitting on East Carolina plus 11. The game is about over, and we're not covering, but then the lights go out at the stadium. And these are brand new lights they just put in. Something sketchy going on there. I don't know, but we have a 20-minute delay with 3 minutes left in the game. This changed everything. East Carolina was able to put a touchdown in through the back door. Then they recover an onside kick. And I'm like, shit. Like, we didn't even want them to recover the onside kick. At that point, well, like, we didn't care. Temple recovered. They kneel it. East Carolina now, I'm like, oh, shit, are they going to throw a pick six? That's immediately where my mind goes, which I have to get out of that mentality, I know. Not that my mind controls the game or anything, but, again, you need to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I'm starting to get better at that. So what happens? They're down 10, Again, I feel like you can't lose unless they throw a pick six. They throw the ball. The guy's forward progress is stopped, and I can't hear a whistle personally. He's going out of bounds. No time left on the clock. They're down 10. They can't win this game. And he just says, fuck it, tosses it. What happens? Temple picks it up, runs it back through a touchdown. I thought I lost. I'm sitting there. I'm like, did that just happen? Keep in mind, this was after last week when I bet Houston and Tulane broke like 3 tackles, ran in for a touchdown. They weren't even trying to score a touchdown. They're trying to just get tackled, kick a field goal, and win the game against Houston. And they broke like 4 tackles to get in for a touchdown. And I'm like, shit, is this going to happen again back-to-back Thursdays? But then the ref said that they blew the whistle before the touchdown and it didn't count. And that was our fortunate cover of the week. So hopefully we have more of those than bad beats of the week. This is the first week we've had one of those. And the first week we didn't have a bad beat in college football. So let's keep that momentum going. Bets I regret not making. I mean, there were a ton, honestly. Oregon State money line, I was going to give that out as a dog of the week. And I didn't. Honestly, I'm fully transparent. I just didn't get time to look at the game. I had it on my leans. My stats looked good. My algorithms liked them. And I just didn't get time to dig through the material that I wanted to give it out as a play. And unfortunately, 6-point dog winning outright, it would have been a nice payday for the dog of the week, but we'll definitely make up for that later. Central Michigan plus the points, another one that I thought, I couldn't believe that they were getting points at home. I was kind of shocked that they were underdogs at home against Eastern Michigan. I get Eastern Michigan's played well, but they played in a lot of close games, and Central Michigan just ran over them. So I kind of like what Jim McElwain's doing up there at Central Michigan with not a ton of talent. So before we jump over to misleading finals, just wanted to remind you guys.
Subscribe to Freddie's Premium Sports Picks newsletter, free at FreddieWills.com.
Third year of this premium newsletter, 30% return on investment, 60% against the spread. One email, once per week. Subscribe at FreddieWills.com. In the newsletter play this past weekend was Florida, plus 2.5. They went outright. That was a crazy game. We'll talk about that later. Not in our misleading finals section, but we will talk about that game on this podcast. So stay tuned for that. Again, another reminder, $99, guaranteed college and pro football, FreddieWills.com, guaranteed profit or 2 weeks for free. You can also pick up all my individual picks. I already have a pick out there for Texas, Oklahoma for $15, guaranteed or your money back. So individual picks, I do offer money back. However, I always recommend clients go with the long-term package, a weekly package, because then you get your picks released as soon as I release them, and then you don't have to deal with line changes and should I play this? The line was this, now it's that. Just invest in the long-term package. That's what I recommend. So make sure you check that out at FreddieWills.com. Misleading finals. Central Florida versus UCF. UCF had 4 turnovers in this game, and I think 3 of them came deep in Cinci territory. One went for a pick 6. Cinci was great in the red zone defense. It was part of my handicap. I actually gave out Cincinnati plus 4 as a 3% play, and when I gave it out, I also mentioned the fact that the quarterback situation at Central Florida was going to be the reason Cincy won and covered. And absolutely was. Dylan Gabriel was not what he had been in previous weeks. He really showed up as a true freshman here. I thought my handicap was spot on. Again, you can go on over to FreddieWills.com/records. There's a link to my analysis there. You can check it out. If you're new to this podcast or thinking about subscribing, just so you can get a feel of what I'm looking at when I handicap games, it's important to look at the analysis. So I thought I was spot on with that one. UCF had 29 first downs to Cinci's 18, so I will admit that, obviously this is showing up from the misleading finals for a reason, but I really did handicap that. I thought Dylan Gabriel was going to be the reason that Cincy would win and cover this game. Cincinnati did outgain them from a yards per play perspective, 4.7 to 4.1.